Hey, how's it going, everyone? Today I'm working on the 1998 Honda Shadow that I got when I was in college. I started out actually on a 250. I think that was a 95 Honda Rebel 250. Rode that for a couple months and then realized I was kind of too big for that bike because since I'm 6 feet tall, I was kind of too big for it. So I upgraded to this 750, which is a 1998 Honda Shadow 750 Ace American Classic Edition. And I rode that for a couple years while I was in college, to class and things like that. And then I graduated college during COVID, so life kind of got in the way. So it sat parked in a wooded area for quite some time. It probably sat parked for probably 4 or 5 years. I want to say 5 years or more, without being ridden or cranked. Really, I might have cranked it up 1 or 2 times in between that in that time, but mostly sat parked and kind of started deteriorating. And this is the next video in restoring the bike. So far I've gotten the bike running in the previous episodes, and in this episode I'm going to get it to the point where it's a little bit more reliable. So today I'm going to be working on a couple things, or at least until the light runs out today. First thing I'm going to do right now is try to see what's going on with my coolant reservoir tank. It won't hold any liquid. I poured some coolant in and just totally dried out and leaked out. Another thing I need to do is figure out the chain. It is extremely loose. If you can tell here, you see it just flops around and hits the frame while you're driving. So I need to figure that out. There may be some adjustment left on this, or I might just need to get a new chain. I'm thinking I can at least adjust it for the time being, because I did in the first video, I did take the wheel off and redid the brakes, so I had it off and I may just need to adjust the chain for tension. Also in this video, I'm probably not going to show it too much just because I've already done it 4 or 5 times, but I'm going to take the carburetor out one last time and give it a clean, just so I'm comfortable with where it's at and there's no corrosion in there from any of the old fuel that I've already gotten out of the tank in the past videos. I'm also going to finish painting the air cover here. I just got primer on this. This was in this it was like a chrome plated, but the chrome was like chipping off, so I'm gonna paint that. And I think the new theme of the bike is going to be mostly everything black, and then maybe the tank and the fender I'm going to do like a dark gray, maybe like a matte gray, and then the seat maybe like a brown leather. That may be the color scheme I'm going to go for, but long term I want this to be like a bobber build, so that's kind of what we're going for. But like I said, I'm just going to repaint that to be probably black. I got some I don't know if it's going to work, I don't see why it wouldn't, but I got some truck bed liner. I'm going to spray that on. Another thing is the clutch cable is pretty loose. It does shift and everything fine, but it's at the very end of the adjustment screw there, so I just want to make sure that's where it should be. That may just take a few minutes, but I'll try to add that in this video here. And with that may be enough for the video. We'll kind of see where I'm at and see how long it takes and see how long the video is at that point. But that may be enough for the episode, where I can at least get it back on the road reliably. Because right now I wouldn't really ride this on like a real road. I just live in like a cul-de-sac here, so I probably wouldn't take it out of this little grid that I live in, maybe to get gas or something. But basically the goal of this video is to get it to a point where I can actually take it somewhere farther than half a mile away. So that's kind of the goal for this video, and we'll see where we get. replace the screws because they're not like clamping down the way they should. I was wrong about the coolant reservoir. It actually is full. I just tried to put some water in and it was full, and it's got coolant, like green coolant that I put in there, but it's also leaking where the tube connects. Leaking like a lot, which I don't see how both of those things can exist simultaneously. Like, it's leaking but it's also full. I don't understand how that could be, or what's happening. So I'm gonna have to look further into that. Maybe the hose is clogged or something. I really don't know, so I'm gonna have to research that one and get back to it, but that's where we're at so far. Just really quick, I'm gonna take this airbox cover off and get that finish painting that. It's just got primer on, and I'll finish painting that really quick. This is going to be somewhat temporary, I think, because I might end up getting a new air cleaner thing, air filter, maybe one of those like pointed ones or some other like fancy one. I'm not sure, but for the time being, I'm just going to put some of this truck bed liner on it. I've never used this before, but we'll see how that looks, and if it looks good, then I may paint some other parts on there, because I think the color scheme I'm going to go for is like maybe like a black and dark gray with like maybe gold or chrome. I'm not sure, but we'll see how this looks. Yeah, I looked at the chain. It's got a little bit more adjustment left in it, so I'm going to try to adjust that out so it's not so loose right now. Let's see. Okay, so I thought that was actually gonna be a lot harder than it was. It's actually very easy to adjust your chain. You first of all have to loosen your axle. Obviously get the bike off the ground so the wheel will turn. Then you loosen your axle, which is this nut that connects with this bolt. They're pretty big. It's like a 22 millimeter, I think, which I just used a adjustable wrench and got that wheels loose. And then basically you just have to it says here how much you need. Mine's 3/4 of an inch of free play. Mine was like, well, it still is. I probably looks like I need to adjust it again, but see how loose that is. Just really just loosen or tighten this nut based on wherever these lines are. Mine's on 3 right now. Looks like I might need to tighten it back after I just adjusted it, but you basically just loosen it or tighten it based on those lines, and that's basically it. And you just tighten your axle back down. That's it. That's tightening up. See how tight that is? It's actually a little too tight maybe, but Yeah, you just loosen these nuts right here, and then you loosen it or tighten it. In my case, loosening it tightens the chain, and then you see what line it's on. Mine's on 2.5 right here. See that it's on the 2.5 tick, and then you just make this other side, which this side looks like it's just this nut right here. You just make it match. I need to go a little bit more to 2.5, and then that's it. And you just tighten it all back down, and you're good. Okay, yeah, that was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. So chains tightened. It's at like 2 3/4 ish both sides. Got this painted with that truck bed liner. Took it for a little test drive. Chain feels okay, I think. I'm not an expert, but feels fine. It's definitely not as loose as it was. Yeah, on to the next thing. Okay, I think today's the day. I'm going to take the carburetor out, get that cleaned up, and while I've got it out, I'm going to replace the hardware that's holding the boot, holding the carburetor onto the intake there, because I'm getting some blowback and it's causing hesitation. And then the other thing in the hesitation, I think, is the carburetor still a little bit gunked up, so I'm going to take that out and give it a touch-up clean, hopefully for the last time. And then I'm going to look at also the clutch lever, like the clutch cable here is kind of on its last, kind of on the last thread there, so I'm going to see if I can adjust that and tighten that up a little bit. And then after that, it's basically turning to aesthetics and replacing any of this kind of rusted out stuff that's just not going to last. But other than that, it runs hopefully reliably after that, and I'll give it a wash and kind of replace stuff as I go, and you know, turn towards more aesthetic to get that bobber look that I'm going for. And this will just be kind of my daily slash project bike that I ride. And my cousin's friend was over here the other day and was letting me ride his, I think it's a 900, but it's a Yamaha XM7 or XM9, or I forgot what it is exactly, but the thing was pretty sweet. So now I'm kind of craving for something a little nicer and newer, so I may get a sport bike, but for the time being I'm gonna stick to this one, stick to where I got, and get this thing on the road. So let's take a look, get this carburetor out. change of plans. It turns out these boots are pretty stiff, so I just ordered some new ones, and I'm gonna just cover this up with a bag or something until those come in. I think it's like 2-day shipping from Amazon, but I'm gonna get some new boots because these are not flexible anymore, and it's fighting me going back in and saving myself the trouble of having to take this out again in the future. I'm just go ahead and replace these boots. I did get new screws for the clamps, so these are all new and stuff, but I'm gonna get new boots while I'm at it and finish this up when they come in. Got a new set of carb boots in. I'm gonna pop this on, put this carburetor back in, and hopefully this thing is gonna be good to go for the next video. And I'll probably give it a wash as well, or maybe I will save that for the next video. I don't know, but it's pretty dirty, and at this point hopefully by the end of this it'll be running, and we'll see. We'll go from there. Carburetor back in with the new carburetor boots. Everything's all hooked up back together properly as far as I can tell, except for the clutch cable. I think that's not routed properly, so it's kind of touching up against the engine, so I'm gonna have to redo that a little bit. And there's a couple screws that are, a couple screw heads that are stripped, so I'm gonna take that back off at some point and address that. But other than that, I think everything's good to go. I'm gonna try to give it a crank really quick and see if all the repairs are good, and then I'll kind of tighten everything down and see where we're at. Yep, clutch cable is definitely not routed properly because I can't pull the clutch at all, so. Knock on wood, the only concern right now is that clutch cable.